What's up guys, Kyle with Hypertrophy and PectusWarriors.com. Today I'm going to show you the brand new Titan Fitness leg extension leg curl and tell you whether or not this is worth picking up for your home gym. Let's go. So right away, let me say that this is not a typical piece of equipment to buy for a home gym. Even though this is marketed towards home gym owners, it's extremely expensive and it does two real exercises. I spent almost $2,700 purchasing this because I was able to get a 10% discount on it. That's a ton of money. That's a crazy amount of money to spend on essentially two exercises. So the caveat to all of this being, build your gym first, get a power rack, get some dumbbells, maybe even a functional trainer before you're looking at something like this. Once you're in the market for this type of piece of equipment, then yeah, you're going to be looking at mid $2,000 for a selectorized leg extension leg curl. I will say it's shipped in a nice large wooden crate. It had plenty of instructions on how to put it together, and it was honestly a pretty easy build. It took about 2 hours for me to get everything together, including the stickers on the weight stack, and there really isn't too much to screw up here. So overall, Titan did a nice job of packaging this and making sure it's easy enough to put together for just about anybody. The biggest piece is going to be this frame that encloses the weight stack. So that is one solid piece, but the rest of this comes in pretty manageable pieces so that you can move this up or down stairs, obviously prior to putting it together. First and foremost, let's get familiar with the dimensions. So the entire length of this machine with the leg fully extended is going to be 60 inches. And you might want to budget a few extra inches when your feet are actually on the outside of that pad pushing up or down, either direction that you're going. And then the width is 36 inches. So overall, not a huge footprint for a leg machine, but obviously it's only going to do two real main exercises unless you start to get creative. But in terms of what this machine is supposed to do, I think the footprint is perfectly fine. The build quality is super nice. So this looks like a commercial machine in my opinion. We've got a really nice black powder coat, the steel accents and the red anodized pop pins, as well as the red pulleys, which are also aluminum. So overall, very heavy duty. I will say that it's not, I wouldn't call it a tipping risk, but it is a little bit easier to tilt than I would expect, given that we have a 250-pound weight stack on here. I'm 6'1", 220 pounds. I can lean on this, and it's not going to go anywhere. But again, I mean, you can move that pretty easily, so keep that in mind. Overall, the quality of this machine is really, really high. I love the vinyl that they've put on here. Coop talked about this in his review, and it's very similar to the Rep Fitness vinyl. I actually have the Pegasus right here, so visually they almost look the exact same. But I will say that the vinyl on here is actually not super sticky in my opinion. So I have very hairy legs, and doing any sort of leg curls, leg extensions in shorts, I haven't had any issues with this. It still feels really comfortable on my legs despite some of the other similar types of pads having a lot of grip and tact to it. There's a bunch of different adjustment points on this machine. So one of the cooler things to call out here is on the back pad. So we have this pop pin, but to move this forward, you don't actually need to pull it out. So you can just slide it up as far as you want it to go, and then it locks into place, and then you use the pop pin to go further back. So that is a really, really nice feature. We have the adjustable knee pad for the leg curl, which has a nice range of motion to it, and then two little rubber pieces that lock it into place so it's not going to swing out on you. And then we have the arm attachment for the machine, which is currently in the leg curl position, and then you pull this down to bring it into the leg extension position. So in my experience, this has a ton of stretch in both directions. I'm 6'1", and for me, I can get into both the leg curl in an incredibly stretched position, and same with the leg extension. So we've got that at the top bracket there, and then shove this down for the leg curl. We can really get tight in here, and I mean, I have a massive stretch through my hamstrings right now, and this feels great coming through here. I actually probably need to bring that seat a little bit further so that my calves aren't blocked by the pad, but it's really easy to do. And then with the getting into the leg extension, all that we need to do is flip the pin back in the other direction. Now, one of the annoyances, small annoyances that I have here is getting this into the most stretched position on my legs is going to require getting into this back hole. And it's just a little bit annoying to have to reach and push to get all the way into that. If there was maybe like a handle or something that you could actually reach into and adjust from back here, it'd be much nicer, because especially when you're fatigued after a set and you've been locked in here, it can be a little bit tough to actually reach all the way out there. And I have pretty long arms to be able to get out there, but I have to kind of leverage myself into the seat so that I'm not pushing the arm out of the way as I'm trying to get into position there. But once you're here, I mean, this position with the leg extension as well, I have a massive stretch through my quads here, and it feels absolutely incredible. There's really not too much extra space I would ever expect to be able to push down in here. If you really wanted to, you could get those pads that you attach onto the leg roller to give you even more stretch. But I mean, in my opinion, this is plenty for what I need out of a leg extension. Beyond the actual setup points, we have the leg roller does not have a way to lock it in. So you'll notice it's on this rotating bushing down here. And that, in my opinion, is not really a problem. So it'll just kind of settle in on your leg wherever makes the most sense for you. So both for the leg extension or the leg curl. Some machines allow you to lock that position in, and that may be something that you prefer. In my experience, it doesn't make a huge difference, but there is no way to lock this in, so keep that in mind. In terms of the way that this machine performs, if I can get out of here, the really interesting piece is this cam system. So as the cable comes out through here, I'll put this a little bit lighter so I can actually move it. In the leg extension position, the cable is going to kick into the bottom of the cam, so that you're actually going to feel the most weight in the stretched position at the bottom. And then as you come further up with it, the cam actually makes the weight a little bit lighter, which is exactly what you want out of a leg extension. You want the top part where it's a little bit harder to be lighter, so you can keep that nice full contraction. And then where you're strongest at the bottom, that's actually where the weight is the heaviest. Now, because the leg extension is using this exact same system in the opposite direction, the same weight distribution applies. So the weight is actually still the hardest at the bottom of the leg curl, which isn't ideal. You would prefer, just like the leg extension, you would prefer this to be the heavy part and then this to be the easy part, but that's just not how it works. This is actually the easy part, and then it gets harder. In terms of effectiveness of the exercise, it's not really a problem. I mean, we're talking about very minute details here in terms of exercise science and getting the most out of the exercise. But from just I want to do leg curls, I want a hamstring pump, and I don't want to affect my lower back, you're still going to get a great pump out of this machine and this exercise. The leg extension just happens to be absolutely incredible. So you're getting the full stretch at the bottom, the lightening a little bit at the top, and it's doing exactly what you would want out of a specifically purpose-built leg extension. So given that this is a combo machine, it's got to make some trade-offs, and I think that the way that Titan did it is about as good as you could possibly ask for. There you have it, my review of the leg extension leg curl from Titan Fitness. I think it is incredible at what it does, but it's very expensive and very limited in its use case. There's a reason why I've had a home gym for 5 years and I'm just now picking up something like this, because it really shouldn't be anywhere near the top of your list. Work on building out your power rack, getting a functional trainer, having a nice set of adjustable dumbbells, benches, everything else. And then if you want to start getting into specific machines and pieces, that would be when I would recommend doing it, after all of those basics are already met, at least in my opinion. And then when you are in the position that this type of purchase makes sense, this is a great machine. It really doesn't have me wanting for more. I think the leg extension feels as good as it possibly could. And given that it's a seated leg curl, so it has to use the cam in the opposite direction, I don't really think there's too many other workarounds to make this thing work better in both respects. So it has my highest seal of approval and my greatest recommendation. So I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel. And if you want some additional help putting together your own program, get in contact with me below. I'm a personal trainer and nutrition coach for the last decade, and this is exactly what I do with all of my clients. Go through inventory of equipment, what kind of space that you have, what your goals are, and build out a plan from there. So again, hope you guys enjoyed, and I will catch you again in the next one.